So many storylines. Obviously, the fact that all number 1 seeds are here in the Final Four for the first time, but we want to know what intrigues these two gentlemen the most. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz. Glad to be with you on Destination San Antonio, presented by Coors Light, obviously, from the Alamo Dome right behind us. Pete Gillen, Steve Lappas of CBS College Sports Network. And, guys, aside from the fact that it's the first time ever that all 4 1 seeds have been in a Final Four, what else intrigues you the most?
North Carolina's defense. My question is now, can North Carolina, can they stop the penetration by Kansas? And I think they can. I think they'll get by Kansas. But then they got to run into the Memphis Tigers. And the Tigers, Steve, as you know, dribble penetrate better than anybody in the country. So my question is, can North Carolina, though they're going to score a lot, can they stop the dribble penetration by Chris Douglas-Roberts and Derrick Rose and Antonio Anderson? And that, to me, is the phenomenon. You got great offense by North Carolina, and you got Memphis, who's an outstanding defensive team. They held teams to 60 points, and 38% from the field. So I'm wondering, can North Carolina stop the Memphis Tigers penetration? I say yet no.
So, Steve, clearly we know who he's already got going to the finals.
Yes.
He's got Memphis and North Carolina. He's forgetting about UCLA and Kansas.
I'm intrigued by that game, Memphis-UCLA game, and I'll tell you why. 2 years ago, Memphis played one of the more ugly basketball games offensively that you've ever seen. Scored 45 points against UCLA in the Final 8 game. UCLA totally locked them up and dominated. Now you have a Memphis team on a complete roll. And whereas I like waffles. I love waffles. That's why I'm going to waffle.
You're a waffler.
I'm a waffler.
You've been waffling on the
I take a stand.
You know what?
Taking a stand.
It's like trying to predict a horse race a month from now, and a horse runs 3 times before then. And honestly, this Memphis team, the way they've played lately, how could you not think they're not going to beat this UCLA team, who I thought was going to win the national title? So I'm very intrigued by this matchup of the great defense versus the great defense and pretty good offense.
Well, let's get into this Memphis team because they are different, obviously, than the one from 2 years ago. A ton more experience. And everybody in the media keeps playing up the fact that they're the underdog. They didn't deserve to be here. And John Calipari said today, where are people getting that from? We lost 1 game all season, but nobody picked them to get to the Final Four.
He loves it. Let me tell you something. John Calipari loves it. Every article that anybody wrote that said, oh, they're going to lose to Texas in the Final 8 or whatever, he has taken and shown his team, say, guys, they think we stink. It's much easier to play as an underdog than as a favorite. The times that I was a favorite were very difficult. I'm sure Pete can attest to that. It's a lot easier when you're coming under the radar. And he has these guys thinking like they're underdogs, and that takes tremendous amount of pressure off them. Great coaching, and he's the best salesman out there. One of the
He's
best.
unbelievable. He spins, he wheels, he deals. He's unbelievable. He tells them stories that they believe. He hypnotizes them. He gives them, magic potions. So whatever he says, they'll do. You know what I mean? And he's a master at it. And he talks to a guy, a guy named Bob Rotella, who's a sports psychologist who lives in Virginia, who I know. And he talks to him once a week, boom, and they got spin doctors all over. So he's going to spin some nice potion for Saturday and Monday.
We got to get one of those guys up here on the set. Let's get into a little bit of news and notes. And unfortunately for Kansas, senior Roderick Stewart on this very floor earlier today during the team hour-long session. Fractured kneecap, not going to play. In the locker room, Kansas was very subdued. Bill Self said his team was very quiet. It was obviously not the way you want to start the Final Four. As former coaches, how do you get your team back up?
That's hard. Once again, he's one of them. He's one of the guys in the family, and losing him was devastating because he's their 8th man. They only play 7, but he's a valuable player. He's one of those guys, transfer from USC, so it's very sad, and it's not a good omen. If you can't say, hey, maybe it's not meant to be, so that's too bad, but they got a lot of other talented guys, and they can always reach back and get an 8th guy for a few minutes, but that's really sad, and it's not good for Kansas.
It's sad for the kids, it's sad for the program, but they need to know they have an opportunity here, and I'm sure Roderick Stewart's going to talk to them and say, hey, guys, go out there and win this thing. Forget about me. Forget about everything else. So maybe it probably interfered with their preparation today a little bit in their mental frame of mind. But tonight, Bill Self's got to get those guys ready to play. It's unfortunate what happened to Roderick Stewart. Thankfully, the kid is going to be okay in terms of okay. Now you got to go out there, and you got to try and win this game.
Yeah, the doctor said it could have been much worse than it actually is, and it's hard to believe that when you're talking about a fractured kneecap. But as you said, better for Roderick Stewart. All right, one other piece of notes, and the AP Player of the Year, Tyler Hansbrough beating out Michael Beasley. Right call?
Right call. All season I thought it was Michael Beasley, all right? But then I was down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I saw the Louisville game against North Carolina, and he's unbelievable. Playing D, defending, he was fronting David Padgett, wouldn't let him get the ball. Inspirational leader. He's hitting 19, 20-foot shots. I give it certainly to Tyler Hansbrough.
I think you have to give it to Tyler Hansbrough. Look what his team has done. And I agree. Those 2 shots that he made at the end of that Louisville game, I am a Tyler Hansbrough convert. Not that I wasn't before, but now I am officially.
Well, he actually has the stage to do it on where Michael Beasley
He's a
hasn't had
waffler,
it.
though.
I don't know. We already
Don't
established
waffle back.
that he's a waffler. We'll get the psychologist up here to handle the waffling. Don't forget, folks, every day throughout the rest of the Final Four, we will be here on Destination San Antonio, presented by Coors Light, breaking down every aspect of the Final Four. For Pete Gillen and Steve Lappas of CBS College Sports, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.